So I was a PK, what they call a PK, preacher's kid, and I was classical. And I was sitting in my room and I was thinking, I what what direction do you want to go? Where is life happiness for you? And it seems like that happiness is in what the world has to offer, what Satan has to offer. And I walked in the room and I said, I just decided I'm going to go to hell. Okay, I want to continue this lifestyle that I'm in because I find happiness in it. I find enjoyment. I like it. Okay. And so I can't stay living with my parents anymore. And all of a sudden, this thought came to me. Herb, you know what's going on in there. It dawned on me. Satan, there's nothing else that Satan has to offer that attracts to me. And I thought, well, there must be something in Christianity. And I started reading it. And somewhere in the introduction or the first chapter, I found Christ's love for me. And I remember calling out, wow, this is love. When he said that, there was this load that went away.
Thank you for being willing to share your story today with me. And my goal is to understand your spiritual journey, what shaped your faith, the challenges you faced, and what led you to where you are today. So today I will ask you the questions that will help me to guide us through different stages of your experience. And please feel free to share as openly as you wish. I guess my first question will be, did you grow up in a Christian family?
Yes, my father was a pastor. Okay, he became a pastor when I was. His first district was when I was 1 year old, and and it's a Christian family because of the decision that my father made. You know, and he was very serious. Uh, Jesus was everything to him. Being a pastor, it was. So I was a PK, what they call a PK, preacher's kid, and I was classical.
So would you say he was able to pass on his faith to you, and it has also become serious to you back then?
Oh yes, I went to the church schools. I went to every single evangelistic series that my father put on, and he put on a whole lot of them. He was very dynamic. He would dress in a white suit, with black lights on it and everything, really stand out with black light and lettering and everything, and it was so I knew I I knew that everything that my family believed and everything that I believed was from the Bible. And I went with my father numerous times when he had Bible studies, and I'd run that film clicker and to the next one. He'd tell me to click. So I was very, very grounded in biblical truth.
So I was seeing then you made a decision to join the church at some early age, right?
You said that I chose to join the church at an early age. I wouldn't say that.
Okay.
It was a decision. It was back then. the classical thing, the normal thing and that a Christian family would do. They would get baptized when they were 10. And when I turned 10, my sister started in on my parents. Oh, he needs to get baptized. He needs to get baptized. It was them saying he needs to get baptized. So when you're 10 years old, you do the and that's what I did. I was baptized when I was 10. But when I wasn't against it, I believed everything, and I said, "Yo, why not?" I wasn't forced to.
I
Yeah.
see. I see. I see. So at that age, whenever it was, you were convinced that what the church is teaching is from the Bible then.
Oh, definitely,
All right.
definitely.
So when did things start to change then?
Probably, uh, when my parents started, there was a couple of times in my younger years that my father brought a television into the home, and I would say that started contributing to a uh, to an attraction to other things, and um, so it was around the 7th grade, 12 years old, something like that, uh, that I started being attracted to other than so television where that I was lived, that was raised.
I see. So television was kind of an introduction to what was to come.
I would think so, yeah. Yeah, it was another world,
Right.
It was another world, that I was
It's like a window into another world.
right.
Okay. So, and how did it develop then?
The, w what I was attracted to was thrill, okay? Things that gave you that thrill, physically. It was everybody knows what it's like to have a thrill, okay? And I really liked thrills. And uh, the uh, I started lying,
Mm.
because I knew this lifestyle that I should portray as a preacher's kid.
Okay.
Okay, and so I started living a life of a lie. There was this life over here that I was attracted to, but yet I'm supposed to be living this way. I'm supposed to be outwardly showing that I'm this way to help my father's ministry, to not be a detriment to it.
So, the first, or one of the first steps to kind of reconcile this attraction to the world and the spiritual lifestyle was uh, to bring those two worlds together. Lie was necessary for that step, right?
And I felt that it was, it was, uh, it definitely played a big part. And when you start lying on little things, uh, you you s- you know you're I'm going the direction that I want to go. So lying starts becoming more and more uh, of your being, of my being.
So how did it develop? How did it develop later after the lie? What what things were you attracted to, or what happened then?
Uh, it continued to develop. Being a preacher's kid, I went to the church schools all the way through first grade through eighth grade, and then from there I started going to the academies, and at the academies, my uh, my drawings were to people who were on the so-called spiritual edge, okay, and so I was learning things from them, and where there's more thrills, and Uh, and so this and then on into my sophomore year. That was my freshman year at the academy. Then my sophomore year, I went to it was a 10th grade school, 10th grade Seventh Day Adventist school. And then my junior year, I went to another academy. My first one was Indiana Academy, and then the next one was Union Springs Academy in New York. And on the summers in between the school year, uh, I would work on the farm to build up money for the coming year. And this it was the summer in between because my father had me. I went to my sophomore year. I went to that 10th grade school, but then they knew I knew I was going to be going to the junior year to the Union Springs Academy. So I worked that summer at on the farm because I worked the summer before between my freshman year and my sophomore year on the farm to build up money for my junior year. So this was the second year on the farm in the summertime, and I was sitting in my room. In the dorm or where? I was sitting in my room in the dorm. Okay, I had I did morning milking, so I had the morning off, and then in the afternoon I would go out and do haying and mowing and plowing and whatever the farm needed. And I was sitting in my room and I was thinking, I what what direction do you want to go? Where is life happiness for you? Um, uh, I said, and I said, okay, well, what's attractive me? I said, well, okay, I want to be happy the rest of my life. And it seems like that happiness is in what the world has to offer, what Satan has to offer. Uh, I knew it's from Satan, okay, because of what I learned, and 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 I said, well, I want to be happy the rest of my life, and I said, well, if that's the case, then I see happiness as that. I know that the end result is rebellion against God, which ends up in not being safe to be saved in the earth made new, where Eden is again. Okay, that it just wasn't there for me, and so I said, well, if that's the case, then I'm going to go to hell because I know all that I had learned from the Bible before. It said that you don't burn forever in the cleansing fires of this earth. You don't burn forever. You burn up. You become ashes. And I said, okay, well, I'll burn up and that'll be it. But I'll be happy until when, you know. And so I got up from my bed while I was thinking about all this, and I got up and walked down the end of the hall where my friend was. I called him the Vermonter. And I walked in the room and I said, I've just decided I'm going to go to hell. Wow. And he looks up at me. He says, Herb, you're nuts.
Wow. So, uh, looking at two different lifestyles, one that you've learned from your family, another one that you've learned from this world, you found that what the world has to offer, it seemed to you that's the one that gives the happiness. But in the same time, according to the Bible, you knew, uh, should you choose to go this path, it will bring you to hell. Is it correct?
That's correct.
So then you saw if the world or Satan has something for you to offer that gives you happiness, that you must have seen God being somebody who deprives people from happiness.
That's the way that I saw God. He was the big depriver,
I see.
the big depriver.
And you decided to take back the happiness then
Right.
into your hands.
Yes. The
So when you were making this decision, um,
It was wrestling. I was wrestling. Yeah.
so was it like, I don't know, some people say they heard verse, some people say there were thoughts like, well, people portray, there was a bad angel and a good angel on one shoulder and another one, and there was a battle within the person. So did you have any wrestling like this in you?
That's what was going on. That was decision time, significant decision time when I decided to go to hell. The and it set a direction that just built and built and built into tasting everything that appealed to me that that was in the world, that was in that direction, the opposite the spiritual, opposite truth, opposite reality. Okay, because that's what truth is. Reality, truth is more important than gold. Okay, I was going for the goal of the world. Okay, not the monetary thing. I wanted pleasure. Okay, it was that thrill. Okay.
Well, this is what is very relevant to many who probably will listen to us many years after that happened to you, because today, especially for young people, which you were back then, the happiness, the mental health, what they call it today, is of the top things they want to achieve in life, if not the toppest. Because they say, well, mental health and happiness, this is all that matters. It's all about how I feel. That's why I think it may resonate with many people. But you have told me already what attracted you on one end, why you made that decision to go to hell. Was there anything, if you remember any, that told you don't do this? What would be on the other side? What was there anything that was holding you back? Well, I don't know. Maybe did you think of your parents that it may hurt somebody, or did you think that this lifestyle may ruin your health or something like that?
Those thoughts weren't even there.
Wow.
I didn't care what my well, I did care about my parents. I kept in this lying phase.
I see.
Okay. And it didn't manifest itself to my parents until after I got out of the army. I was drafted in the army in 1968, and um, the I had started smoking cigarettes. I think when I was 16, and I would do it occasionally. And then I went to college one year at Atlantic Union College over in Massachusetts, and I got into pretty good smoking there uh, in the evening, cigarettes, and so I continued smoking cigarettes, and then I was quite I was very addicted to them in the army. Uh, and after I got out of the army, and so I had to. I smoked when I was okay. After the army, I went back and lived with my parents for a while down in Florida. He had taken a church on down in Florida.
So this new life that you've chosen, would you say it made you happy as you expected?
Yes, yeah, I was happy. I was happy. Uh, and yeah, the previous love didn't have any attraction to me.
Did you have peace? Were you like loving people still and everything?
No, it caused me to become racist, okay?
Wow.
What that's a term that they use nowadays. Back then, they just I hated black people, you know? And, I remember one day, um, when I was in Atlanta.
Where did it come from? Like I don't believe you grew up or you were brought up like this.
No. Well, it was the companions that I hung around with,
Okay.
it's, their influence. Um, uh, in the Army, I had buddies that were black, and but, overall, um, I didn't like black people, okay? Uh, I liked calling them, and, it felt good, it felt superior, you know, but we're all the same blood.
All right.
The, um, this, there was this thing that my father did. Okay, I was smoking cigarettes one day. I mean, I was after I got out of the army. I went to work. I went and lived with my folks for a while. I was working with a engineering company down in Florida, driving trucks and so on and so forth. No big high end job or anything, but I would smoke cigarettes just prior to going home for supper. And this one day I was in a restaurant and I was having my last cigarette, and I came out to the car, and there was a note on the seat of my Volkswagen, and it says, "Be sure your sins will find you out." And um, so I go, "Oh, okay." So Daddy saw me smoking, and so I said, "Okay." So I got in the car, drove to my folks's, and I went in the house. And I asked my mother. I said, "Where's Daddy at?" And she said, "He's over at the church." So I went over to the church, and I knew he was in the study. So I went in the study, and he just and I said, "I see the note." And he said, all he said was, "Do you inhale?" And I said, "I inhale." He says, "Okay." And so, uh, I went home, and, the next morning, I called up the place that I was working before I was supposed to be there. I called them up and I said, "I quit." And, and my and my that night, I had decided to go to Pittsburgh. No, to yeah, Pittsburgh, to work in the steel mills. I said, Okay, I wanna continue this lifestyle that I'm in, because I find happiness in it. I find enjoyment. I like it, okay? And so I can't stay living with my parents anymore, living this double life. So, I told them that I was, gonna be leaving, and in a few days, I had all my stuff, in my direction. And I went out and I got on the road and I was hitchhiking to Pittsburgh, PA, to work in the steel mills. That I had to sign. I'll tell you, I was a great. I mean,
Professional.
I was a professional hiker, hitchhiker.
Okay.
Okay, and what I have learned is that you need two things when you're hitchhiking. You need a magic marker and a source of water. And I had a sign written on it, Pennsylvania. No, Pittsburgh. I had a sign, okay, down to Florida. And what I'd learned is that you hold the sign out and you look the people right in the eye as they drive by, and you smile at them. You smile at them. You smile at them, so they get the idea that you're not dangerous. And this guy picked me up, and and he, as we were driving along, he started telling me about Atlanta, Georgia, and uh, and all about Atlanta, Georgia. And I go, well, that sounds like a good place to go. And that's where he was going. And I said, I'm not going to go to Pittsburgh. I'm going to go with you to Atlanta. And so I went to Atlanta and I got work there. And
So something, so you left your parents' house, but apparently something significant happened. Something changed your life.
okay, I got into smoking dope there.
All right.
I had gotten into smoking, okay, hashish, and I was in the army, and then back here in the States, you don't have hashish, you have grass, uh, and um, and so there was a area in Atlanta, Georgia. It was called 10th and Peachtree, and you that was where everybody went to either sell or to buy uh, grass. And so that naturally I went to there, and after a while I was selling and supporting my need for grass by selling it, okay? And and my father had found out that I was in Atlanta because I did tell him that I was there, but somehow or another okay, I remember how somebody had come up from his church there, and they had seen me, and they went back and reported it. And so my father was on the committees or whatever for the union down there, and one day I got this phone call, and it was my father. I go, he says, "Hello, Herb." I go, I didn't say anything, but uh, he said, "I want you to come over to where I'm at. I'd like to see you." And so I had no desire to go see him at all, but out of respect, I went.
Okay.
And so I went in a motel where he was at, and he and we carried on just a short conversation and so on, how you doing, all this kind of stuff, and uh, and as I was getting ready to leave, he said, "Herb, wait a second, I've got something for you," and he handed me this book. And I looked at it and I said, "Okay, thank you." And I went back to where I lived and I tossed the thing into a drawer or something.
What book was that?
It was called The Great Controversy.
All right. So he gave you this book. Did he tell you something about this book? Like,
No,
okay.
no, he
So
just said, "Herb, someday you're gonna need it."
okay, someday. So
That was his words,
was there a day?
his party words.
Was there a day when you needed that?
Uh, there was a day that I needed that. Yes,
So tell me, what was the day then?
I led. I was there in Atlanta for 2 or 3 years, and the last summer that I was there, I uh, I quit my job. I had gotten a job at the biggest hospital in Atlanta, Georgia, and I quit the job. I told them why. I said I just want to spend the summer hitchhiking around the United States, and that's what I did. I spent that summer hitchhiking around the United States, dumpster diving, because I didn't have a lot of money. And I would go to the dumpsters and back of grocery stores and find good food and um, and I would sleep in. I had a big plastic thing that I would put under me and roll over me. And my favorite place. There were three places that I liked to sleep when I was hitchhiking around the United States that summer. Was in ditches that were low, where the wind would blow, it would blow right over me, and or in barns, hay barns and stuff. I just sneak into them at night, or churches, because back then, when was it? This is in 19 uh, 70, 71, something like that. Yeah, 72. Uh, Churches were open. they didn't lock them, and if the church had good, comfortable pews, I would utilize them.
I see.
And uh, so um, my last trip was to see a friend of mine in Syracuse, New York. And so I got this ride and I was heading to Syracuse, New York, and I had to urinate real bad. And I was holding, and I said, I can't hold any longer. I asked the guy, hey, can you pull over? In the next rest stop, I got, and so uh, he did. He pulled over, and I went in, and when I came out, he was gone. He had all my stuff.
Wow.
And so the only thing that I had on me was that black magic marker in my pocket. So I pulled it out and I hunted around where I was at there for a piece of cardboard box, and I got it, Atlanta. I headed back to Atlanta. And when I got there, the new word was, oh, this new nightclub, down on Peachtree. And after hearing about I had gotten my job back at the hospital there, and, 'cause I was an excellent aide, they would just send me wherever, uh, burn unit, emergency room, any floor, wherever they needed me. It was a night shift that I worked. And so after a few weeks of working there, I said, "Well, I think this weekend I'm gonna go to that new nightclub." And so on Friday evening, I got dressed and drove my Volkswagen down Peachtree and turned down Ponce de Leon. Found a parking spot, pulled in there, and I walked up Ponce de Leon to Peachtree. Okay, so I was and the traffic when I got there, the traffic was going across, and so I stopped. And there were people, because the traffic was going this way, the people on that side, they were coming over eh, to the nightclub, and they were all happy and, all looking forward to going in, and the music was coming out, and the traffic being against me, I had to stop. And all of a sudden, this thought came to me: Herb, you know what's going on in there. And I see everything in that, say, classical world, okay, worldly lifestyle, Satan, whatever Satan has to offer, okay, everything. It's all short termed. It's all short termed, and the thrill uh, gets mundane, gets old. Okay, and so you want to find out the next thing, and the next thing, and the next thing, and and when that thought came to me, Herb, you know what's going on. All of a sudden, it seemed like that I saw this place in my life, and this direction, this thing that happened, this thing that I was attracted to, this thing that I did, this thing that I did, this thing that I did, this thing that I did. And it seemed like that there was a review of my life from that time when I was 16 and I chose to go to hell until now, which was about 8 years later. It seemed like that it went in a circle, and it's here I am now on Peachtree and Ponce de Leon, and it dawned on me, Satan, there's nothing else that Satan has to offer that attracts to me. And I thought that I could go on forever until I keel over in the grave uh, in that lifestyle, and that what Satan had to offer. I thought it would go on forever. And it ran out, and it shocked me. I go, whoa, there's nothing else? So I'm going to have to spend the rest of my life being bored or lying to myself that what I'm doing, I'm happy, but I'd be lying to myself. Now, what kind of life would that be? I said, that's and I thought, well, there must be something in Christianity. And I rid around on my heel and I went back down Ponce de Leon
Wow.
to the car and I drove back to where I was living on Spink Street and
So you didn't go into nightclub, you made a U-turn or something and you went back then.
I didn't go across to the nightclub,
Okay.
you know. I knew that if I went across to the nightclub, I would have to enter into that world of lying to myself.
And you said like making a full circle, coming back to square one, and there was nothing else to offer.
There was nothing else. There was nothing else to offer because everything. That's what that lifestyle is. It's experiencing new things, but they run out.
I see.
If you know the truth, okay, it runs out.
So the deception was that it will keep you happy for the rest of your life, but that was a lie of Satan to you and maybe to many today.
It is a lie to. That's the truth. That's a lie. It's a lie. It doesn't last.
Right.
Uh, there's unpeace in your life. You hate. Uh, it's a unhealthy lifestyle. You're into drinking. I was into smoking and doping and uh, uh, it's it's anyways that I went back to where I was living. When I had that thought, there must be something in Christianity. I went back to my car, went back to where I was living, and I rummaged through my stuff because I knew that book was there. Oh, I didn't know where.
That was the day when you needed the book your father gave you.
That was it. He said that day, he said, someday you're going to need this book. And that evening, Peachtree and Pasta de Leon was when I needed that book. Because was a thought that came to me after you know what's going on in there, was there must be something in Christianity that is lasting, that is fulfilling, that is
Satisfying, giving purpose.
yes, whatever, it's and so I would during that time, I would change places where I was living, and I would just gather myself up, and that book always it came. I didn't pick it up and bring it, okay, but it came, you know, and so I went back and rummaged through my stuff, and I found that book, and I started reading it, and somewhere in the introduction or the first chapter, I found Christ's love for me. And it was so profound that it that I knew that Christ would have died for me if I was the only one in the whole world that accepted him as my Lord.
So Christ revealed yourself through the first chapter of the book, The Great Controversy, then.
Somewhere in the introduction of the first chapter,
I see.
I found it. And I was stoned and I was reading it and I remember calling out, "Wow, this is love,"
Amen. Praise the Lord.
you know. And since then, it hasn't ran out. There's this peace in my life. I'm still a rebellious person, okay? But my rebellion now is against the father of lies. All right. It's and it's just nice. It's nice being on the side of right. It's lasting. It's It's fulfilling. It's sharing truth. It's it's uh it's a healthier lifestyle. It's an intelligent lifestyle. It's a it's a it's a mind expanding, constantly learning satisfaction, and and it's there's this gift that God wants to give us, and see, and I've started tasting it here because this lifestyle hasn't ran out, and to live eternally, okay, it must be all right, uh, because this has been all right. This hasn't ran out. For
Right.
okay, I'm 77 years old now, and I was what? I was 24 or something, you know.
More than 50 years ago.
Yeah, it hasn't ran out. It's just it's gotten better and better and better, and that's what it's described in the Bible as a marriage, you know. Well, that's what's happened in my marriage also.
Oh, right.
Well, my marriage here on this earth, to my, that's gotten better and better. It's this eternity that He wants to give us, um, it 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 never. Okay, I believed it. I knew that there's this opportunity that if you choose Jesus as your Lord of your life, that He wants to give you eternity. Well, it didn't attract to me, but the lifestyle did. Okay, and it's proven to be okay. Okay, if He wants to give it to me, eternity, that's fine. But it wasn't attractive to me.
I see.
But I would take it. Okay, I'll accept it.
I see.
You know, eh, until one day it dawned on me, God, who never began. Okay, God, who never began. I mean, never began. Okay, I believe that He's learning. They say to He knows everything. Yeah, but I think that He learns from His creation, the inventiveness that He creates in us. I believe that reciprocates back. He learns from that. Now I can pass that. Whatever. So He's been running since eternity. I'll never catch up with Him. So now eternity is attractive to me. I'll never catch up. I'll learn forever. Ah!
So, uh, I assume sometime later you decided to rejoin the church or maybe even be rebaptized or what happened?
I was, yes. The Adventist, what do they call it? The Adventist lifestyle, the Adventist organization, the Adventist denomination, it teaches the most truth from the Bible than any other organization. So I knew that that's where I wanted to stay. I had been raised in it, but I said, why go to something less? In my and so I was my after I got married, after we were 2 years of marriage, we decided to get re. Debbie decided to get baptized, and I decided to get rebaptized. This time, I wanted it. I wanted to be baptized, and see, there was this thing. There was another significant point in my life. Uh, just before I got married, uh, I had gone up to from Atlanta. I'd gone up to New York State, and I'd taken a nursing course up there. And that Christmas break, I said I want to go visit my parents, and they had moved to Massachusetts. See, this time I wanted to go see them. Okay, and so I went and visited them. And while I was there, the clutch went on my car, and my father paid to have the clutch fixed, and then when we picked up the car, it wasn't right. The guy had put the clutch in backwards. So there was a few days there that I had to stay a little bit longer. And when we were going back to pick up my car that had been refixed, he reaches over on my knee. He was driving and I was sitting in the passenger seat. He reaches over on my knee and he says, "Herb, it looks to me like you're trying to get ready for Jesus."
Hmm.
He said, "You'll never be ready. He wants you just as you are." When he said that, there was this load that went away.
Wow.
And, and then it was soon after that that I got married and so on and so forth and baptized.
Praise the Lord. So, one of the important questions at the end that I want to ask is for our listeners or viewers, for young people, or maybe not only young, some people, they are adult who may be considering right now or will be considering in some future to turn their back on God for whatever decision, for whatever reason, excuse me. Whether they will want to have a different lifestyle, they may not like God's requirements, they may want to seek for a life of pleasure or forbidden pleasure or whatever they call it. They may see God as a depriver. So for them, what would you tell them today, or what would you tell yourself who was younger back then on the day when you made that decision? Is there anything that you think you wanted to tell our listeners?
It's a it's a false thing. It's not fulfilling to be out of sync with God. He's our creator. He created us. He knows our DNA, the human DNA. He knows it. He knows what will make us happy, will make us fulfilling. He knows what's best for us, from the food that we eat to the physical food that we eat to the spiritual food that we ingest to the secular things um, uh, that we um, that lead us away from uh, true happiness. True happiness is following is in that DNA that God has created to us, which is the truth. To stay with the truth. You know, uh, when you walk away from the truth, you bring negative baggage with you. It sets you back uh, uh, on your advance. As a young person, you have great energy. You have great esprit de corps. You know, it's uh, and uh, and it just sets you back with this baggage that you have to overcome now, and your witness and your um, for the truth is I don't know how else to say it. It's set back. You know,
Right.
uh, it's it's a, it's fault. It's not. You know, what's really significant is that he knows where real happiness is at because he's created it, and he says he wants us to be happy, and fulfilled.
Right.
And to not go that way is foolishness.
Well, thank you so much for willing to share your story with us and with our viewers or listeners. I believe for many And I hope for really many people out there, it will be a really inspiring story, because many people look for happiness in their life today. And when they hear a story about you wrestling with different ideas in your life and the path you decided to take, and finally and ultimately that you found strength in faith, this is a very encouraging to hear. And we hope that all our listeners and viewers will be interested to hear and view more stories like this. And if you so wish, please consider subscribing and following us for more stories about God manifesting Himself in the lives of people like you and me. May God bless you, and see you later.